former classmate threatened and harassed me. Before the story begins, it is necessary to have a content warning for misogynistic language, violent language, threats of violence, and minor actual violence and shoving. Stay safe out there, everybody. With that being said, let us begin. I am a female and I'm writing these lines during the final days of the month of October of the year 2022. Before I skipped a year, I was in a class with a guy named Charlie in the year number 2 and number 3. I never particularly liked him. He spoke too loudly and boasted constantly, and on top of that, he made fun of me from my social anxiety, my slight accent, and my nationality. Yeah, he threw things at me occasionally, and teachers never believed me since I was a shy and imaginative young girl. When I skipped a year and moved to a different campus of the same private school, I was sure I wouldn't see him again. I didn't until last year. I was in the year number 10 and I am now in the year number 11. I do well in all my classes except for art. I made a few close friends who I trust a lot, and I even joined a couple of clubs. To be honest, I think that my 7-year-old me would be proud. But the terror started at the beginning of the last school year. My friend Rake was walking me to Spanish class, and behind me I hear a boy calling my name. I turn around and surely enough, it's Charlie! He made a few jokes about me being a nerd to his friends, and Rake promptly took me around the outside of the main building to the other building where I have Spanish classes. He asked me about it and I brushed it off, saying it was some guy who probably knew me from the other campus. Every Monday I have MUN during lunch, and one day I was helping Patrick, the club leader, clean up and rearrange the classroom. And about this class called MUN, it stands for Model United Nations, which is an extracurricular activity in which students typically role-play delegates to the United Nations and simulate UN committees. The club leader asks me to grab an eraser from the teacher's cupboard, and I quickly head a floor down. As I'm coming back up the stairs, I see Charlie jogging up behind me, tripping me and pushing me right into the metal railing. I wasn't severely hurt, but my foot was recovering from being fractured, and it wasn't a big deal. I found him roaming the hallway with his friends, so I called out for him. He turned around and I asked if I could just quickly say one thing to him. I began politely asking him to be careful when on the stairs, to which he rolled his eyes. But I continued to explain why he should not push me again, since my foot was healing, and that overall he could hurt someone. His face morphed into a crooked smile after being completely annoyed. He and his friends broke out in a fit of laughter. I ignored them and I began to walk towards the classroom where MUN is hosted, as him and his friends started chanting "cunt, cunt, cunt" over and over again. Yeah, that's right, you heard that right. C-U-N-T. His behavior only worsened from then on. I quickly got up from my chair, leaving my laptop open when I was in the library, and he swiftly started browsing my tabs and apps, some of which were of private messages to my friends and family. I returned, standing by the seat in horror, and I snatched my laptop from his hands. On another occasion, he stole my sports uniform and broke my umbrella. And what was worse was when he somehow got my number over a series of voicemails, and he began detailing all the grotesque things he would do to me if I was ever alone. They started off as pretty average, beating me until I was bruised or ripping out my hair, but began to transgress into sexual violence. He said he wished he could choke me and sexually assault me, R-A-P-E, only to leave me lying on his bed bloodied and terrified. This was followed by remarks about how much I was asking for it through the clothes I wore, how women are stupid and deserve to be treated as such, and that no one would want me after him. I haven't had, thankfully, any interactions after this school year, but I remain wary. If anything escalated, I will tell my friends and family more details, but for now, I feel safer than before. This one over here is an update to my story. I would like to say the following thing. Thank you so much to everyone for being so kind to me. And yes, I have since spoken to the council and heads of human resources at my school per email, and I have informed them about this. I'm being asked to give transcripts of everything, and I can't really verify anything but the voicemails, and I hope this will be enough. My parents are already aware and have even said that they would be willing to take legal action on my behalf. I have told some of my close friends, but I don't want them to get too involved on my behalf. I really hope that speaking up will have nobody else affected by his actions. I'm not planning on contacting the police, and I'm waiting to see what my school will do. But there has been a similar case involving a crime at my school, which was handled very carefully and professionally. I'm going back to school in a week because I have break now and I'm more scared than ever. I'll try to keep someone close with me at all times in case he comes near me. The worst part is that his parents know me and will probably either have to choose between resenting me or their own child. I hope they won't be too heavily affected by this. I feel horrible for not reporting anything earlier. If I had spoken up last year, I probably would have had a larger degree of credibility. And regarding the internalization of disturbing behavior, thank you so much to the commenter who pointed this out. I defiantly agree that some degree he doesn't have full control of his actions. I guess through all of this, I could really see my past own inability to legitimize feeling unsafe. I also was scared to tell anyone beyond my friends because the last incident was in June, and I doubt people will think that I am reasonable for reporting something months later. Wow. From my own experience, I would suggest you shouldn't let the school handle this, as they will do their best to sweep it under the rug. Please make a report to the police. And why? Because when my son was being bullied, the school took care of it, which is why it happened for 3 years. They did not do a damn thing to protect my kid. I went above them to the school board. No one ever returned my many calls regarding the situation. I then called a lawyer's office and I just asked what my next step should be to end this. I was ready to hire a lawyer and contact the media. The lawyer suggested having the cops meet me at the school and see if the school takes me seriously. Plus, it would make it so no one could claim that I didn't try to reach out, etc. I made 100% sure that my son wanted to take that step and allow me to intervene in any way to get this kid and his friends away from my kid. My son then told me that he was okay with it, but something happened. So the very next day, I had cops meet me at the school. The officer sat me down while I spoke to the principal about how this has been handled, the torment my son has been through, and everything. I left when they were calling the bully down to talk to the principal and the officer. After that day, my son never saw the kid again. Not even at the bus or at their bus stop. They got on and off at the same stop. Sometimes you have to make a scene to make people listen to you and help you. Please don't wait to contact the police. You don't want to wait around for him to do something else. Please tell adults and people you trust so they can help you while you deal with this. But I'm begging you to call the cops more often than not. It scares the school into finally doing something because anti-bullying laws exist, and the school does not want any bad publicity for not protecting students. Be loud about it until the people in positions to help you actually do it. Make them listen. Do not sit around and wait. Don't keep brushing these horrific events off. And the people you love and trust you need to know 100% how terrified you are and how unsafe you feel. Don't let anyone try to invalidate your experience. This is extremely serious and absolutely terrifying. I am so sorry you're going through this. Please keep us updated. Please keep us updated. Please.
Oh my. Oh my. I'm so sorry for what happened to your son. No child should ever have to go through such treatment. You sound like a wonderful parent, and the way many schools handle such situations is truly horrific. Thank you so much for your input. I will speak with my parents about consulting our lawyers as well.
Oh, I'm so glad. Never, ever be afraid to advocate for yourself or ask for help when you can't do it. Thankfully, after that issue that I just told you about was handled, my son was never bothered again in school. At least, not to any extent that caused him suffering. I went at them really hard because the bullying had gotten so bad that the school called me to tell me about it when another child overheard my son saying that he wanted to end his life, and he was only 12 years old at the time. At that point, I would have done literally anything to help my kid. I even started following him home from the bus stop so he wouldn't feel like he was being babysat, but so I could make sure he was okay. He called me and said his dad told him I was out there. Lol. I'm laughing at this. My son asked if I was a ninja and how I hid it so well. My son has since stood up to bullies that other kids are dealing with, so everything turned out really well. It could have gone so much worse, and I think about that every time I hear a story about a child being bullied to that point, and I think about how I almost lost my son. I never want another kid, whoever they are, to go through that. I'm so thankful you have supportive people in your life to help you. Once you start getting loud, you'll realize it's a lot easier to do in any future situations where you have to make people hear you. Stay strong. You're going through something that is truly difficult, so just be gentle with yourself through this process. And as for mental health, You know, mental health help when you need it. Even if it's just going to mom and saying, I need a mental health day. Can I please stay home today? Self care, always.